Cannabis is an addictive substance and it comes in various forms. It is known by various names such as marijuana, Indian hemp, pot, dope, weed, etc. Around 10% of individuals who use cannabis get dependent on it. Although it doesn't have overt physical manifestations, it can cause psychological withdrawal. A person who is dependent on cannabis, if he is not getting any cannabis, can display symptoms of being irritable, being aggressive, not being able to sleep, and can display anger, etc. So what causes cannabis dependence? It is caused by a host of factors. There are a multitude of factors that are responsible for cannabis dependence, as with any other form of dependence. Broadly, we divide these into three factors. Somebody who has a biological predisposition to develop dependence. Let's say that there are people in his family who have a history of dependence or substance misuse that predisposes that individual to more forms of substance misuse. Psychologically, there are factors such as ongoing stresses. If there's a lot of ongoing stress in one's family or in one's life, one can resort to use substances to cope with distressing situations. And if the prevailing social norms and social situations are not conducive to a healthy lifestyle, that again predisposes a person to use substance for coping. There's an area in the brain which concerns reward. What reward am I talking about? If you have good food that tastes good to your palate, you get some sort of a reward. If you get money on time as in the form of salary, that can be seen as reward. If you listen to good music, if you exercise, these are all different forms of reward. There's an area in the brain that processes these rewards, and that area is called nucleus accumbens. There's also a brain chemical called dopamine, which is responsible for the way we feel once we have a positive reward. We feel happy, we feel pleasant, and we feel satisfied. Let's say that we succeed in our exams and scale some unscalable achievements. That gives us a positive sense of satisfaction. And the brain chemical that mediates this reward is something known as dopamine. Each time you have a positive experience, the dopamine in your brain shoots up and is responsible for feelings of pleasantness. Abnormal brain reward processing is the hallmark of any addiction. The way your brain processes reward starts to differ, and hence you get dependent on that particular substance. This is the biological basis for all forms of addiction. There are 6 features of substance dependence, and to have a formal diagnosis, you need to have 3 features out of these 6 features in the past 1 year. So these features are craving, tolerance, loss of control, salience, withdrawal symptoms, and use despite harm. I'll explain what these terms mean. Craving is an irresistible urge to use the substance. With cannabis, we talk of something called reverse tolerance or dispositional tolerance. I wouldn't go into the technicalities. Suffice it to say that tolerance means you have to use more of the substance to get the same effect. Then there's withdrawal. I told you with cannabis, there's no physical withdrawal, but there is something called psychological withdrawal in the form of anxiety, irritability, agitation, aggression, sleeplessness, etc. Loss of control is a hallmark of any addiction. What it basically means is that the person would have intended to use a certain amount of substance but loses control over himself and ends up using more than what was actually intended. This is the hallmark of any addiction. Then there's something called salience. Salience refers to the substance being the whole and soul of the person's life. His whole life is centered around using that substance to the point that he or she will end up neglecting other important aspects of his life, such as work, social aspects, etc., and also personal aspects. Then the last aspect of addiction is something called use despite harm. What it basically means is that the person continues to use the substance despite there being a clear evidence of physical or psychological harm. So if 3 out of these 6 features are met in the last 1 year, then the person is formally diagnosed to have substance dependence. The answer is a resounding yes. As with any other substance, cannabis can cause a host of physical and psychological disturbances. Some of these include anxiety, depression, a syndrome called cannabis-induced amotivation syndrome, wherein the person loses all motivation to do things. In persons who have a biological disposition to develop psychosis, which is nothing but loss of touch with reality, usage of cannabis for prolonged periods of time can make this person vulnerable to develop psychosis. It in fact advances the age at which this psychosis develops. So what are the broad treatment modalities available for treating cannabis dependence? Again, these fall into 3 categories. One is biological treatments, which is nothing but the usage of anti-craving medications. Persons will have to take this for a period of at least 1 year to come off cannabis. The second part of treatment would include psychological interventions, and this mainly focuses around a therapy, a talking therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy, and something called motivational enhancement therapy. Cognitive behavioral therapy examines your beliefs and attitudes and how it influences your behavior. There are 2 parts to it. The cognitive aspect, which examines the way you think, and the behavioral aspect, which examines the way you act. It is based on the premise that our beliefs and attitudes influence our behaviors, and both are interlinked. So changing the way we think will change the way we feel. Eventually, it will change the way we act or behave. It is one of the most efficacious treatments in psychology available today. The other aspect about cognitive behavioral therapy is that it focuses on the here and now without delving into the past. The other aspect of psychological treatment for substance dependence is motivational enhancement therapy, which looks at increasing the client's motivation to quit the substance. It requires a seasoned therapist or a psychiatrist or a seasoned professional to be able to conduct these sessions. Lastly, the client would definitely benefit from social interventions, which would include support from friends, relatives, and family. Thank you. I wish you a drug-free life.